Hello everybody! In this short video I want to demonstrate the new notebook backend of Matplotlib and show a few other new Jupyter features. Let's start talking about plotting. We used to put plots inside a notebook by first importing Matplotlib. Import matplotlib.py plot splt, and then we gave the Jupyter command %matplotlib inline. Shift enter, and then we could give the command plt.plot and plot a line. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, for example. And we get a nice graph. If we then, in the next code cell, where our cursor is now, give another plotting command, for example, plt.plot 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. It would, and I would have not any syntax errors, we would get a nice new graph in the next, below the next code line. What we are going to do now is we are not going to use matplotlib inline, but we're going to use matplotlib notebook. So let's leave this command in here. We're going to change this and make it matplotlib notebook. That will create our figures in a slightly different fashion. If we now execute this command, plt.plot, we get a differently looking figure. For one thing, it's larger than what we had before. It has this bar here at the top, but if you scroll down a little bit, the other nice thing is that it has a couple other features. It has a couple extra buttons here at the bottom. This button here with the rectangle is a zoom button. So if you click on that, we can zoom in our figure. Right? The button here next to it with the 4 arrows is a pan button. So if you click on that and we start panning, we can grab our axis and our graph and pan through it. And with these forward and backward buttons, we can go to the previous view. So if you hit the back button, we go to the previous view we had. We go to the back button once more. We go to the view we had before that, and we finally end up with the very first view we had of our graph when we first created it. We can go back to where we were, going forward to those. And we can hit the home button. If you hit the home button, you always go straight back to the very first view you had. We also have a save button, which I think at this point is not so useful because it saves it through the web page, which you normally don't want to do. The other nice thing though is if you are in zoom mode, for example, is that if you have your cursor through the graph, it shows in the bottom right hand corner what the XY coordinates are of your cursor, which may be very useful when you are exploring graphs. Another thing that's new is if you go to the next line now, to the next code cell, and let's make this graph. Let's see what happens. We do shift enter. And what you see is it didn't create a new graph below it, but it added this graph to the previous one. And the other thing it did is it didn't update the y limit on the axis. But we can do that by hand, just by specifying that in the next code cell, plt.ylim04, and it will nicely create the limits on the vertical axis that we want to have. What now if we really want to have a new graph and not just keep adding to the old one? Then we have to give a command to create a new graph. And the command is, we've seen it before, is plt.figure. And if you see the plt.figure has a number of options. One of the options is the figure size that you can add. And you can also do things with the edge color and the face color. But let's do the default one. We create a new figure. And if we now plot in this figure, well, we can do it here. Or in a new code cell below. And you see it's added to this new figure, while if you scroll back up, the old figure is still there. That is the new way we're going to do graphics inside Jupyter Notebooks. There are a lot of new Jupyter features, and the one I want to talk about is command mode versus edit mode. Right now we are in this code cell right here, and you see it is the code cell that's active has now a color around it and it's green. That means you are in edit mode. And in edit mode, you can type commands. A is equal to 3, B is equal to 5, A times B, and you get a nice answer. But there is a second mode in Jupyter Notebooks, and it's always been there, but we never talked about it, and it's called command mode. If I hit now the escape key, you'll see that this code cell changes color to blue, and the cursor disappears. Why does it disappear? Because I'm now in command mode. If I hit keys now, I will give commands. And the question now is, what commands? Well, if you go to help here at the top and you choose keyboard shortcuts, then you find out all the commands that you can give in command mode. This is command mode. For example, if I'm in command mode and I hit the key C, then I will copy the cell. If I hit it X, I will cut it. If I hit D twice, it will delete the cell. And that's purposely it's done twice because you don't want to accidentally delete the cell. And there's a lot of other commands that you can give. Similarly, if you're in edit mode, there's also a couple shortcuts, but those are all the regular arrows that you can go up. But there's also a select all, which is Command A on a Mac, and I bet you it's Control A on a Windows machine. But just look at it. Open up your help here and look at the keyboard shortcuts, and you'll find out what they are. Once you're done with command mode, once you hit your cursor in there or you hit enter, you switch back from command mode to edit mode. And the code cell changes color again to green, and you know you're in edit mode, and you can give your regular Python commands. That's all I have for you today. We'll make good use of the new notebook backend, also when we start doing IPython widgets or animations. Hope to see you next time.